It's fitting to say that Lewes, Delaware literally drips with history. That's because it's a town surrounded by water. And water has given the town its identity since its founding by Dutch settlers in 1631. Once a town of commercial fishing, its two beaches today are a big draw for tourists.
You only need to hear the year Lewes, Delaware was founded and its original name to understand that this place is among the oldest in the United States. The original town was called Zwanendal when it was founded as a trading post by Dutch settlers in 1631. The architecture of this building is an unmistakable sign of the Dutch influence. Today, it is the Zwanendal Museum, built in 1931 to commemorate the 300th anniversary of that first settlement. The building is patterned after the City Hall of Doorn in the Netherlands. Zwanendal means Valley of the Swans. That earliest arrival of the Dutch created the first spot in what later would become the state of Delaware, the first state to sign the U.S. Constitution.
Well, Lewes was the first town in the first state. So we go back to 1600s, and we have a lot of people that have moved here that want to preserve the history.
The initial settlement only lasted about a year, but its proximity to the water caused the town to be formed again about 20 years later. But it was during the War of 1812 when the town really made its mark on history.
A small fort was established right here where we're standing to defend the mouth of the Delaware and defend Lewes. But really the primary objective was to defend Philadelphia, not let ships get up to Philadelphia. When the British got here, they requested supplies from the townspeople, fresh water, fresh food, of which the Lewes towners of the time said, no way. You know, we're at war with you, we're not going to supply you guys.
The townsfolk refused to feed the British, who answered with a cannon bombardment towards the resistors. Today, one of those cannonballs remains embedded in the building that now houses the Lewes Historical Society. The museum's photographs and exhibits tell the town's maritime history, including the letter the British sent that prompted the resistance. It also covers the more recent history, when fishing was the primary industry. Seems the fishermen sought one particular species, the menhaden, which kept fishermen busy and lots of people employed in its processing. Menhaden cannot be eaten by humans. Its uses are industrial, mainly for oil and for farming and fertilizer. When menhaden fishing was the industry, the odor kept tourists away. The end of the fishing industry opened a great opportunity for tourism, and it has led to a real transformation for Lewes.
It's a community that's gone through a real revitalization. It's a community that started, was going pretty much downhill after the end of the fishing industry here in the late 60s, early 70s. And then in the late 80s, it started really beginning to ramp back up as a tourist destination.
You can see the full version of this segment and much more in this edition of Sentimental Reflections. Join us on our video journeys each season as Sentimental Reflections presents America's heritage in story, scenery, and song.